Hello. So tonight, because it's like, what time is it? Well, it's like midnight in France. I'm going to do a video about the differences between France and England that I've noticed um, since I've been living in the two countries. So I've studied in England, so in Bath, for 3 years at university, um, and I've lived nearly all my life in France. So these are the things I've noticed that uh, or are quite funny. Well, the differences and um, yeah, in loads of different categories. So I'm sure that these are things that people who travel or people who live in these two countries or move to these two countries have noticed or not. So it's a bit mixed up. I haven't really done like a real. It's not really organized, but whatever. So I've started with the language because that's, well, yeah, so it's a bit organized, I guess. So the first thing, I guess, is, yeah, the first problem, I guess, you encounter is the problem of the language. So, well, actually, it's not a difference, it's just, so these are things that, or I notice are, yeah, so, or are different, or things I notice anyway. So, um, uh, so for example, yeah, so it's like in the film uh, um, of Sofia Coppola. Oh, I just know the name of her film Lost in Translation. That's always what I'm thinking when I'm in England. More in England when I'm in France, but sometimes in France because sometimes I am lost in translation. Because sometimes when I'm in France, I'm looking for words, even in French, so I just put a random English word in my French sentence. But usually, French people know, not always, but they know English, so they just go, oh, okay, yeah. But yeah, but actually sometimes they don't, so they go, what? What are you saying? So in English, and in England, they don't know French at all, unless you meet someone who learned French or travelled in France and really knows French. And what happens is you really have to, well, like me, when I'm really looking for the exact term, word, expression, well, it's really annoying. But these are actually, so what happens is, so it's my flatmate who said, uh, in France you say, at the end of a sentence you say, j'ai raison, non. You say no, non. But in England you say yes. You say, I'm right, yeah? Or yes. Well, you say yeah, it's cooler. And so one day she noticed I was always saying no, like in French. So she said, why do you always say no? Like it was really, well, it did sound really weird to her. So I was always saying no, 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 and they always laughed at me and said, "Oh, you're so French." So if you're learning English, you have to end your sentences by yeah and not no. That was the only thing, but I'm sure there's other things. But and then I just jumped to food. No, just no connection there. But so what I noticed, but 100% sure about that. I noticed there were more crisps, sweets, cakes, biscuits in England in the supermarkets, but in France there is a lot as well, but oh god, the light's going. What's happening there? But I'm not sure about that, because in France there is a lot of chocolate and whatever as well. But what I did notice is the fruit in England doesn't taste very good. I didn't like the fruit at all, so especially the bananas. I didn't like the bananas at all. So I hardly ate any fruit, so I had bad skin. I know I haven't like great skin, but like I had really bad skin. I was not really in good health in England, and that's a cool thing in England that that's only me, but I'm sure maybe some people don't like it. You mostly get seedless grapes in England, so I don't know if you only get seedless grapes. I'm sure you don't, but I know I always pick the seedless grapes because I don't like seeds in grapes. So, but now you get them in France. I'm sure that didn't exist a while ago. Now that exists. Another thing that exists in England that you don't really find in France, you can find it but not in all supermarkets, and French people don't really know about it. Like, they know it in restaurants obviously, but not in, like, they wouldn't buy that and cook it at home. They would eat it in Chinese restaurants. So it's stir fry. So you buy the vegetables in the packet, they call it stir fry, I think. And then you buy the chicken, the bits of chicken. They're actually sliced chicken. Little tiny weeny bits of chicken that you fry, and the noodles. And you just fry all that. And then you put loads of, what is it? The sauce, soya sauce. I love it. And that's stir fry. They just call it stir fry. And you don't really do that in France. So that's where you mostly... I don't know if it's just young people who cook that, but when I was at uni, this is what we cooked a lot. Obviously you have all the brands in England, so you have I have to remember now. So you have Walker crisps, and in France you have Lay's, and in England you have like salt and vinegar crisps. So Walker's salt and vinegar crisps that they eat a lot, and that's quite nice but really fattening. And then you have the same brands of biscuits they buy a lot, and Hobnobs, I think. I don't really buy those, but... And then there's tea. I love I used to buy English breakfast tea. But I used to buy the really cheap one because I was at uni. But I'm sure you get... Oh, I nearly have no battery left, shit. I'm sure you get like really good one, like expensive one, that's really nice. But in France now, I actually buy an English brand, which is... and I used to buy, I think in England as well, is... what is it? I drink it all the time. Earl Grey, which is known in the whole world, I'm sure. That's... Actually, you can find that anywhere, but that's an English brand, so yeah. Oh yeah, and in England they drink tea with milk, and in France no. And they find it really weird that you drink tea with milk. They find it really, really, really weird. So when at work I used to put milk with my tea, they used to go like, oh, that's gross, oh god. Yeah. And they mostly drink or green tea or tisane, herbal tea. Oh, and there's the funny thing as well. Uh, when you want well, in France you drink a lot of coffee as well. So coffee. We have big cups of coffees, which we call. But that's at home, I guess, because in restaurants we have a espresso, or espresso, which are little cups of coffee, which are but at home we have big cups of coffee, and so we just have coffee, black coffee, and that's it. With sometimes sugar, sometimes not, and that's it. No. So sometimes we have café au lait, so coffee with milk, but no like cream and caramel and whatever. And obviously you have all the Starbucks in England. So when I arrived in England, once I wanted just a black coffee, like a normal coffee, a big coffee, and I asked for a coffee, and they gave me this big cup of coffee with loads of milk and blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, I just want a black coffee. He said, oh, an Americano, and I was like, oh, okay, and that's what it is. You have to say an Americano, so it's really weird. So if you want a black, big cup of coffee in England, you have to ask for an Americano. It's really weird. And what did I write? Because I can't remember everything. So oh yeah, the pick and mix, that's a thing in supermarkets that you get in England. Pick and mix is there's loads of sweets in we get sweet shops sometimes in France, but they actually have the sweets in the supermarket. So you pick the sweets, you put them in a bag, and then at the till they weigh it like in the sweet shop in France, but they have it in the supermarket and it's called pick and mix. So really fun in as well. Then I'm jumping to services. I have 4 minutes left. Oh yeah, in England you have in supermarkets, at the post office, and I can't remember elsewhere, but I'm sure it's anywhere where there's a till and there's tills and a lot of people. There's what did I write? There's a microphone and there's a queue and there's numbers, and they call the number of the till, which is free. So we get it when it's like we can have it, but it's very rare. But they have it everywhere, and people in England love to queue apparently. But if it is good for an organized, just better organized in England, but yeah, it's just different. It's just different. Oh, and the customer service in England, oh my god. That I must admit, it's way much better. Well, I'm not gonna say it's better, it's just different again. I'm gonna say it's fake because it's like, hello, how can I help you? And it's very, very nice but fake. But at least it's nice because in France, if they having a bad day and if they don't give a shit, you can wait for a long time and they just don't give a shit really in France. But the thing is, in France I've noticed, if someone is really happy and is really smiley, is sincere, like it's a real smile, it's like, and that's really nice, so it's not fake. So yeah. Oh, and in England you have all these chains, so I can name a few: Nando's, Pizza Express, Café Rouge, Wagamama's, which are really cliche by the way, because Nando's is like supposed to be Mexican, Pizza Express, Italian, Café Rouge, French, Wagamama's, I'm guessing Chinese, and you have them all across the country in England, and you have them everywhere. Oh,